Welcome back to The Picture Show. I'm your host, Adam Stampley, and joining me again is Michael Jennings, and today we'll be discussing the latest installment to the DC Extended Universe, Shazam. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Billy Batson, I choose you as champion. Say my name so my powers will become yours. Shazam.
Wait, for real?
Say it, okay? Say my name. Shazam!
That's crazy, right?
What are your superpowers?
Superpowers, dude? I don't even know how to pee in this thing.
This is proof of authenticity. Super strength. Electricity manipulation. Hyperspeed.
I'd like to purchase some of your finest beer, please.
His name is Captain Sparklefingers.
No, it's not. That's not my name.
Chosen one.
Oh, you're like a bad guy, right?
You literally did the opposite of what a superhero is supposed to do.
You're him. You're the hero.
You're welcome for not getting robbed.
I'm Batman.
Get him back in!
How old are you?
Basically 15.
Dude, did you see that?
Yeah, you electrocuted a bus and almost killed these people.
And then I caught it!
You leave tall buildings in a single bound.
All right, welcome back. Again, I'm Adam Stampley, and with me today is Michael Jennings.
Hello.
And we're talking about Shazam, and it was rated PG-13, and it's directed by David F. Sandberg, and who also did Lights Out and Annabelle. And so this isn't his first time doing like a big Hollywood movie.
Yeah, big budget.
And this movie was great.
It was awesome. Did not expect that, but awesome.
I'm a huge fan of the DCEU. Like, I know they've had their ups and downs with their movies, but I've always been a fan from the beginning. And this movie just makes me so happy to be like, it's another movie that I can use as a good example of what the DCEU does. And it's movies like this, and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. So we have Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, and then Mark Strong as Dr. Savan. Loved
him.
His acting.
Oh
His
my
acting was
gosh.
so cool. And then we have Asher Angel as younger Billy Batson, and then Zach Dylan Grazer as Freddie Freeman. And all of their acting, and child acting is a hard thing, like
To get right,
to
yeah.
get right and to watch, because you know that they're kids.
Yeah.
But they casted this movie so well. They interact so well. Even in interviews, they're so like having fun. And
Yeah.
you can tell that they're having fun in the movie. The way they talk to each other, they fight. Even when Zachary Levi is like an adult fighting with this little kid, you still feel like it's two kids fighting with each other.
Yeah, you still feel, it doesn't feel like a grown man acting with a kid. It feels like two kids acting with each other.
It feels like two kids acting, which is like, so they nailed that like straight out the gate. They got the casting right away. And then we have the rest of his family. Obviously, Billy Batson was an orphan who was put in a group home with other orphans of this family that like specifically adopts kids.
Yes.
Because they were adopted themselves. And their household is really dynamic. I love that when they bring him home, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and they're kind of overlooking him.
Yeah, everyone's different, and they're showing those different personalities so well and so naturally. It was cool to see that.
Yeah, nothing was forced
No,
when it
nothing.
came to like their personalities. They weren't trying to portray a character, they just were.
They just were who they
Yeah.
were, and you felt that. It was, and DCEU, in my opinion, has had difficulty not forcing things, because if you look at their older movies like Suicide Squad, everything in that movie felt forced. Like, here's this person, here's this person.
Yeah, that was a little heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But this movie does a good job of introducing everyone without like spending 20 minutes explaining
Yeah.
who everyone is. So we start with Billy Batson, who's like this troubled teen, kind of has like this bad history with foster homes and being adopted.
Yeah.
And so he's really rebellious, and he's not really like the best of kids.
No.
And so he goes into this new family, and they go to school, and then Freddie, who's his friend, and his adopted brother, gets picked on by these two bullies who are like atypical, like
Just most cliche bullies.
most cliche bullies ever. But every movie has them. So here's two more to the list.
Yeah.
They start hitting on him, and then Billy comes to the rescue and beats them up,
Yeah.
and then runs away and goes to the subway, and then he meets the wizard who gives him the powers of Shazam. And there's this really funny scene. Do you want to bring it
No,
up?
you can.
Okay, so there's a really funny scene where he's showing him the staff, and he says, "Put your hands on my staff and say the word," and he's like, "Ew, no."
Yeah, funny
And so
as-
this movie has a lot of like crude humor.
Yeah.
And it's very funny with it. Like, it's not too raunchy, but it's funny enough that I can believe these kids would say stuff like that.
Yeah, all the characters were believable, and their dialogue was just, they weren't trying so hard to make you believe that these were kids that the dialogue felt fake. It felt like actual stuff children would say.
Right.
And I loved that.
What I really liked is that I thought in the trailer they'd shown all the jokes. Like, I thought we would have got, like, we got the, "Hey, get him, Batman," and he throws the doll at him.
Yeah.
But you don't get all the jokes.
No.
They saved a lot for the movie that are actually better than the ones shown in the trailer, which that never happens.
No.
So I was surprised of how humorous it was while balancing action.
Yeah.
Because
And
the
you-
action scenes were incredible. They're flying. The bus scene, at the carnival, like, everything was so well choreographed, and you can tell that they spent extensive time training for these scenes.
You can tell they cared about the movie. It wasn't just another like, "Oh, let's get this out here to make money." They actually cared about
Let's get another DC movie. Like,
Yeah.
no, they really cared. They're like, let's show Shazam, because I've only seen him in like comic book movies, like
Yeah.
animated. Like, he's never really been live action aside from the TV show from like forever ago.
Right.
And so I think this movie does him justice, and it shows him in a way that is funny and humorous, but also that he cares about his family and friends, and that he's like really strong and powerful.
Yeah, I knew nothing about Shazam before this movie. Never really read any of the comics or watched any of the Shazam cartoons, but knowing nothing about him, this movie was awesome. This was a great introduction to Shazam.
It really was, and I think they're now that they've introduced him, of course, they're going to bring him into more movies, and I think he'll bring another element to, if he joins the Justice League, or if he's ever appears in any DC movies, I think he's going to bring like a lighter tone to it,
Yeah.
which is fine, because everything else is so dark and gritty that it'd be nice to have one that was more fun. And so next we'll talk about Dr. Savannah, who was the villain. He was played by Mark Strong, who did an amazing job. Obviously, he looks like a villain, acts like a villain. He's a really good one.
Yeah, great villain.
So his backstory is that he was contacted by the Wizard too as a kid, and the Wizard said, "Well, you're not good enough,"
Yeah.
because he failed the test to see if he was pure of heart. And it left him obsessed with finding the Wizard and the 7 Deadly Sins statues, and he's been obsessing over this for years. And his father is like the owner of this big corporation. They don't really explore where he gets his wealth from.
Yeah.
But I don't really care.
It doesn't really
I'm
matter.
here for him.
Right.
I get he's obsessed. So he's looking for Shazam because he wants the rest of the power to become like the ultimate, most powerful guy
Yeah.
in the universe.
Sure.
Happens in every movie.
Yeah.
Zachary Levi's in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But I liked his eye, and I liked that he could bring the monsters out and then put them back in, but he always kept one so that he'd have like some power.
Yes.
Because they perfectly explain that when the monsters are out of him, he loses his power.
Right.
So he is defeatable. You just have to get all the demons out first.
You have to make him mad enough, I guess.
And when he's pulling out Envy, loved that scene on the rooftop. He's like, "Ugly little Envy, like you won't come out to play because you're weak or whatever,"
Yeah.
and it comes out of him, and then he can defeat him. It was a great scene.
Loved it.
But they also left the monsters undefeatable.
Yeah.
So they could always appear in another movie.
For sure.
They go back to their statues. They're not defeated, just Dr.
Yeah,
Savannah
and
is.
I'm here for because I thought those monsters were so cool, especially the scenes where they were just killing people. Incredible.
They were cool.
Yeah.
Their CGI was great.
Awesome. Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break and take a look at our Netflix and DVD picks, and when we get back, we'll talk more about the Shazam family and what we thought about the movie. See you then.
Interested in the world of security and enjoy technology? How about training for a job that combines both? At Bossier Parish Community College, you can begin a career in network security, earn national credentials and certifications, gain valuable internship experience, and train in the fast-growing field of cyber technology. You'll have a support team, small class size, and hands-on learning. At Bossier Parish Community College, we're nationally recognized as a center of academic excellence in information assurance by the Department of Homeland Security and the National Security Agency. To learn more, call us today.
Welcome to this week's Netflix and DVD picks. I'm Sarah Patterson. Let's start off this week with our Netflix releases. First up, we have Evolution, starring David Duchovny and Julianne Moore, a firefighting cadet, 2 college professors, and a geeky but sexy government scientist, work against an alien organism that's been rapidly evolving since its arrival on Earth inside of a meteor. Then we have Bye Bye Man, starring Douglas Smith and Lucian Laviscout. 3 friends stumble upon the horrific origins of a mysterious figure they discover is the root cause of the evil behind unspeakable acts. Last for Netflix is Pineapple Express, starring James Franco and Seth Rogen. A process server and his marijuana dealer wind up on the run from a hitman and a corrupt police officer after he witnesses his dealer's boss murder a competitor while trying to serve papers on him. New to DVD, we have Glass, starring James McAvoy, Samuel L. Jackson, and Bruce Willis. Security guard David Dunn uses his supernatural abilities to track Kevin Wendell Crumb, a disturbed man who has 24 personalities. Then we have Replicas, starring Keanu Reeves. A daring synthetic biologist, after a car accident kills his family, will stop at nothing to bring them back, even if it means pitting himself against a government-controlled laboratory, a police task force, and the physical laws of science. Finally, we have Holmes and Watson, starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. A humorous take on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's classic mystery features Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. That's going to do it for this week's Netflix and DVD picks. I'm Sarah Patterson. Let's get you back to the picture show.
All right, welcome back. Once again, I'm Adam Stampley, and with me is Michael Jennings, and we're continuing to talk about Shazam. So let's talk more about the Shazam family and their house dynamic.
Yeah.
So we meet them all, and like we said, we liked how their individual characters are shown and not like forced down our throat. Like we get who they
everything felt natural in the movie. Yeah.
It did. And then I like when they eventually realize that Billy is Shazam, and they help him out. They don't like criticize him for it. They're like, let's go help our brother out.
They don't even seem like fazed by it really, which was a little weird. They're just like, oh cool, let's.
Oh, I guess because he'd by that point been so popular.
Yeah.
And like the media.
And because he helped save the oldest daughter,
Mary.
Who did kind of figure out when she was having a conversation, because he knew a little too much about her.
Yeah,
so
she's like, how do you know my name? He's like, just you can guess it. It's part of my superpowers.
Yeah.
I loved that. So they start to help Shazam when he's trying to defeat Dr. Savannah, and something this movie did that wasn't shown in the trailers, and I had no idea they would do, is that they did the whole Shazam family. He realizes that he needs the power of family to defeat these monsters.
Yes.
So he's like, okay, everyone hands on, and we're about to get some powers. And so they all do it, and then they turn into their adult versions and help him out. And it's funny that it took Shazam so long to get his powers, but they kind of immediately picked up how to do different things. Yeah. But it was fine. Yeah. I like it was really sweet when Freddy turns into his adult version, which was played by Adam Brody, and he can walk now. He can walk, he can fly, he can be a superhero. Because before you feel kind of bad that Freddy doesn't get to be the superhero, even though he's like the fan.
Yeah, even though he's the one who knows the most about superheroes.
And Billy doesn't care.
No, he's just like, I guess this is cool.
And he gets like Superman like powers, and you're just like, I feel bad for Freddy, but then he gets to be a superhero.
And knowing nothing about Shazam before this movie, and the trailer teasing nothing about the Shazam family at all, that was one of the coolest scenes in the movie. Probably the coolest, because you're just like, holy crap, I had no clue this was even an option, and when 7 Shazams are flying around, it was just cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And I like that they didn't show it. I'm glad they left it up to us to like
a real twist
experience and be like, oh wow, they're about to beat it up. So the next thing is I'm going to mention some of the obviously this movie is very similar to the movie Big, starring Tom Hanks. And so they have this scene where he's running away from Dr. Savannah, and he goes on the keyboard.
Yeah.
And they do like a little like fight run on the keyboard, and it makes like a little song, and then he pushes him off of it. I just thought little nods to other movies that have influenced this movie helped it feel more nostalgic.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I found interesting about this movie, is that it did not feel like a movie of 2019 at all to me. It felt like a movie you'd see in like the 80s or something, or like a very classic. It had a very old school feel to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially with the end credits are very retro. They have like the drawings and stuff.
Yeah.
But I really liked, in this universe, they don't ignore the fact that other superheroes exist. Like obviously Batman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman are these, they're like big, they have fans. People are following them, people are like watching them. And so Freddy's a big fan of superheroes, and he has is always wearing a comic book shirt or has the action figures in his room. He has Superman's bullet in a little bag. He's like, this is genuine. Like, it bounced off of him, and now I have it.
Which, it was so funny to me. He lost the bullet. They lost the bullet in the drain, and then when Shazam first got his powers, they got 20 bullets just like that bounced off
first
Shazam.
One.
Yeah.
And now he has Shazam's bullet.
Yeah.
Which, is Superman still alive? Yeah, because he comes back for Justice League. Oof.
And he's in the end of the movie.
Yeah, they have him in at the end of the movie, technically.
Kind of.
It's not Henry Cavill. You don't even see his face.
Yeah,
you see just the body.
Kind of a letdown, but it was still funny to see.
Yeah, I was still here for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge DC fan, and so any version of Superman I'll take. So then we have... So there was no Black Adam. They didn't mention him.
No.
They don't show him at all. That's fine. Bring him in for the next movie. I'm glad they didn't show him at the last minute, because then I would have been like, I want to see Black Adam.
Yeah, I read somewhere that they were originally going to have this movie have Black Adam in it, but then they wanted to split it more into 2 parts, so you know more about Black Adam. You get more of his backstory.
I like that better, because a big problem with BVS was too many stories being introduced in one movie. Split it up. Yeah. I'll go see both. I want them to focus on one person at a time, so I can really get their whole story. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about some of the more little hidden Easter eggs and little cameos and stuff. But let's take a look at our Friday Flick Picks.
Are you already a welder and want to advance your skills? Interested in having a higher salary potential and stronger employment demand? At Bossier Parish Community College, you can acquire the skills in 1 semester to become an AWS certified welding inspector. Our first of its kind advanced welding program at Bossier Parish Community College includes courses in new welding technology, management, supervision, and the economics of welding. Become workforce ready for today's high demand, high income advanced welding jobs. To learn more, call us at 318-678-6000.
Thanks for tuning into the Friday Flick Pick. I'm Sydney Parker. Tired of living a solitary life in the Pacific Northwest, Mr. Link, 8 feet tall and covered in fur, recruits fearless explorer Sir Lionel Frost to guide him on a journey to find his long-lost relatives in the fabled valley of Shangri-La. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Legend tells of a lost species, a link between man and beast. For centuries, he's lived in hiding, but at long last, he's reaching out and ready to be found.
It's still there. Excuse me. Hi. You can speak. Yes, and I write as well. My penmanship isn't great, but opposable thumbs and fat fingers,
Meet Mr. Link.
Like missing link. Ah! Wait, I don't get it.
A creature of enormous stature. 8 feet tall. 650 pounds.
It's more like 630 pounds. It's the hair that makes me look heavier. I think it's a little deceptive. It can be frustrating.
He's a link to our past.
Oh,
a connection to our present.
Oh,
and a bridge to the future.
Oh. Wait a second. I said, oh, like I knew what you were talking about, but I don't.
Well, I'm on my way.
This spring,
on the other side of the world are my cousins. Can you take me there?
I know the secret ways through the mountains.
Is it hot in here?
By all means, crack open the window.
Oh, that's better.
The search for his kind.
I'll bring back proof of the greatest discovery of the century.
Will become an adventure of mythical proportions.
You have killed my grandmother!
Quick, someone should give her the kiss of life.
You're the man for the job. How's my breath?
He is the missing link.
Throw me out of the pit. I think it might be a little too heavy.
Nonsense. Now, give it all you've got.
Oh, it's hard to know whose fault that was. Let's do it again.
All right, that's all for the Friday Flick Pick. Now back to the picture show.
All right, welcome back. And we were just going to start wrapping things up. I wanted to mention one little kind of Easter egg they had throughout the movie was like they gave him different names.
Yeah.
Because obviously Shazam can't say Shazam without turning back into Billy Batson.
Right.
So they had to say different things. They had Red Cyclone, Sparkle Fingers.
Yeah,
like
Captain Sparkle Fingers.
They said the first one was Thundercrack, and he was like, "No, dude, that sounds like a butt thing." So they changed it from Thundercrack, and I like that they changed it because obviously his superhero name's Captain Marvel. I wish they would have said that. Obviously, the Captain Marvel just came out, and I think it would have been really funny to been like,
Had
I'm
they
the real
like
Captain Marvel or
crack
something
a
like
joke
that.
about it?
Yeah, they could have written it in more funny, but they never say it. They keep him Red Cyclone majority, which I know they call him that sometimes.
Kind of lame, but Captain Sparkle Fingers is the best, or Sparkle
Yeah.
Fingers.
I mean, I like Thundercrack, but that's just me. So this movie has a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Do you think that's a well-deserved score?
I think it's perfect. I think because it's not, it's not the greatest superhero movie ever.
I wouldn't say 10.
No.
But it's like above 5. Like it's
for sure.
7 and an 8 is definitely.
It's not as bad as Suicide Squad, but it's not as good as The Dark Knight. So I think 7.7.
That's a different time.
Okay.
So what were like your favorite parts of the movie? Any key scenes?
I'm not sure I have any like key scenes, but anytime they're just like when Freddy and Billy Batson are cracking jokes and like mad at each other, I think those parts were just the most enjoyable.
Because they're so petty.
Yeah.
It's like petty little kid arguments.
Yeah, and also when Shazam is like exploiting his powers for money and he's going lightning hands. That's my favorite part.
Oh, that was really funny because they're doing it to like
the Rocky theme.
They talked about Rocky a lot. Yeah. Obviously, it's set in Philadelphia, so they reference a lot of movies.
Yeah,
which I liked. I love little Easter eggs like that. So he was like lightning with my hands.
Yeah,
and then they were paying him money. And he's like, and Freddie was like, "What are you doing? You're just taking money from these people. You're not even helping."
Yeah, because that's not a superhero thing to do.
Yeah, but I really liked them. I liked their dynamic a lot. I wonder what they're gonna do as Jack Dylan Grazer gets older. I wonder if they're gonna, because obviously he's gonna age and he's not gonna stay a little kid.
Well, I mean,
neither is Billy Batson's actor.
Yeah, but I mean, just all he has to do is say Shazam to turn into it. So I don't think it really matters that much.
So I think my favorite parts were, I love the ending at the carnival.
Yeah.
When everyone gets their powers and they all work together. I like when he's carrying the bullies off the Ferris wheel and they're like, "Is he giving us a suitcase wedgie?" Because they gave him one.
Yeah, that was.
Well,
funny.
obviously they don't know that it's him. Loved Superman's little appearance, even if it was for this long.
And you didn't even see his face.
You see him walk in, and I got chills all over.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
it was cool.
I love when the DC movies connect to each other when they talk about other characters.
Which this does kind of beg the question: like, does that mean Shazam is part of the Justice League now, or is at least in talks with being part of the Justice League?
Because I know they're doing Flashpoint. And I think they're going to have him in Flashpoint because that's the movie I saw him in the most.
Yeah.
Because he has a more significant role. So I hope they bring him back more. Like I said, I think he's a great addition to the team. Yeah, but I think the whole age difference would kind of...
And I think if they bring him back in group movies, he's far more likable than Aquaman, who was supposed to be the funny, likable one. Mm-hmm. So I think maybe Aquaman can go into his more tough guy role, which needs to be his role. And Shazam can be the funny, likable one. And I think that'll make the dynamics in the Justice League more enjoyable and natural. So.
All right. Well, thank you for coming. Mm-hmm. For Michael Jennings, I'm Adam Stampley. And make sure to stay tuned in for next week when we review Hellboy.